Hi, my name is John Kelly Shelburne. I'm the Media Arts Instructor at the Mississippi School of the Arts in Brookhaven, Mississippi.
When the pandemic hit, what were your first thoughts in knowing that your students would not be able to attend the spring semester?
Well, at first I went into a panic mode because media arts is very technology heavily dependent, and I was concerned that students would be able to finish their work at home because I wasn't sure what kind of equipment they had access to, in particular editing equipment. But luckily there were so many different softwares available for students to be able to edit for free that I slowly became more confident, and certainly students stepped up to the plate.
Now that we've returned to school, how have you adapted the media arts program to a COVID lifestyle?
Well, certainly everybody's wearing masks in class. Everybody stays 6 feet apart. Scenes are carefully selected so that they don't require students to be close together. All of the equipment is wiped down with disinfectant wipes at the end of every day's filming. Students are usually given more time to work individually so that they're not having to work in groups as much. But basically, yeah, we just keep everything sanitized and socially distanced.
How do you compare working on a cell phone to making films on, traditional film?
iPhones are really revolutionizing filmmaking. It used to be to get a really high quality film you had to have a very expensive camera, but luckily technology has evolved so much that smartphones really have a high quality picture so that students are able to get their work done and it not look like it's on an iPhone, it looks like it's on a professional camera. Sometimes iPhones look much better than regular cameras. So I think that iPhones have definitely helped us along. Certainly during our quarantine last March and April, students were able to get their final films done on their iPhone and even edit on iPhones. So I'm definitely happy with the way that the smartphones have been able to keep us going during the pandemic times.
How do you think the film industry is going to adapt after the coronavirus has worn its course?
Well, we're already seeing a lot of adaptations. Certainly, streaming services are going to be booming more than they already have. Although that does make me a little sad because I'm afraid that theaters are going to get phased out. But there's certainly a lot of places to distribute your films. YouTube, for example, all the different streaming sites such as Netflix, Apple TV, CBS Access, etc. So there's going to be more places available for filmmakers to be able to release their products. The revolutionization of iPhone technology, filmmakers can certainly make films without having to get big, expensive crews and equipment. And so between more portable cameras and more options to stream, I think there's going to be more outlets for films to be made.
I'm Jennifer McMorris, and I'm an elementary music teacher.
I'm Stephen McMorris, and I'm a field director.
I'm Bradley McMorris, and I'm a 7th grade student at North Pike Middle School.
My name is Elizabeth McMorris, and I am a 5th grade student at North Pike Upper Elementary.
Can you tell us a little bit about the various parts you play at the theater?
Well, at Matilda, I played my debut role as Mrs. Wormwood. I've also just really enjoyed being a theater mom.
Well, I started off in Matilda the Musical as the lighting director, and then for Frozen Junior, I also was lighting director, but also moved into overseeing all the technical stuff as technical director, and then technical director again for The Diary of Anne Frank.
In Matilda, I was an ensemble role of Eric, and in Frozen, I was the part of Olaf.
So how did your family get into the theater?
I wanted to try something a while back, and then just decided one day to walk in and ask some questions. We got a flyer about the show Matilda, and we decided just give it a try. That day, we decided to audition. At first, it was just me and Bradley that decided to audition, but the excitement and everything was so great that Elizabeth decided to audition as well. So we auditioned, and boom, all of a sudden we were a part of the theater.
So what have been your favorite parts about being here at the theater?
Oh my goodness, so many things we've loved about it. First of all, the family that this is. We didn't realize when we became part of the theater, the community and the family that this really is. It's such a tight-knit group of people, and we didn't really have that. It's something that we haven't found other places, and so when we came to this, we became part of a family. And it's been really neat. It's also just it's a great creative outlet that we didn't realize that we were missing.
How do you think being at the Brookhaven Little Theater, do you think it's been a good influence for your kids?
Oh my goodness, we could talk for the rest of the time that you have about that. Both of our kids, this has been just such an incredible experience for Bradley. When we stepped into the theater, it was just wow. I mean, it was like he came to life. It was like we had found his place. And when he did his initial role in Matilda and then later got the role of Olaf, which was just his role of a lifetime, it was incredible. And to see him shine in that way after trying so many different things was incredible.
Even when it is safe to return to the theater when the pandemic is over, do you think the feeling of the Brookhaven Little Theater, do you think it will be the same as before?
I think a lot of things will return once you get a group of people back together and that community is reestablished. But I think just like the entire world, COVID-19 has literally changed the world, and I think it has changed the world permanently. There will be things that as a result of it will forever be different. And I think it's going to be a process going back. I think it may be in phases to where we can start doing a little bit at a time. But I do think at some point, things will start to return to what we perceive as normal. There may be some things that are forever changed. And I think those are things we still just are unsure about.
Are you ready to be back?
Oh, yes. I would drop everything to come right back here.
I cannot wait till we get to come back.
My name is Connor Davis, and I am a media arts student here at Mississippi School of the Arts.
Due to the COVID crisis, and us having to continue our studies at home, what was it like trying to make your short films at your house?
Making short films at my house has been increasingly difficult because of not being able to go to certain areas that I would use as a set, mainly because they would either be closed or there are a large amount of people.
What's it like using, say, something like a cell phone over a traditional camera?
It's odd. Using a cell phone and trying to edit that footage it's different, especially because I was used to the cameras here and the equipment that we've been using.
What's it like in trying to procure actors for your films?
Getting actors is actually a very difficult process, especially in my case. I was planning to do my documentary and interview people about not only them but their cars, and every single person happened to go to the same party, and all 6 of my actors got COVID.
Do you think that filming at home, using cameras, does it have a different feel than working, say, at school?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the amount of creative freedom not only increases, but it also can decrease because you're not able to use a lot of the assets that we have here.
Hey, I'm Robert Brooks, and I'm the theater instructor here at the Mississippi School of the Arts.
What were your thoughts when the current pandemic shut down the school?
Well, originally my thoughts were it'll probably be the rest of the semester before we get back to school. Other people were saying it would happen sooner, and actually it ended up going a lot longer than that.
How are you able to teach theater online?
It's not easy. It's really difficult. And I feel like sometimes we're not getting the best acting instruction that we could be getting in person when we're working online. But what you have to do is you have to focus on energy and focus on interpretation. And it's a good chance to teach the students how to act for the camera.
Now that we're back at school, how have you changed your teaching methods to include social distancing?
There are some acting exercises that I've had to just take out of my course and put it on the bottom of the stack and hope to get to it next year. Exercises that involve being close, whispering, touching, exercises that involve running, for example, or vigorous movement. So we've had to focus mainly on vocal techniques And we're still able to do scenes, but we only block them with 6 feet of distance at all times.
How are you able to do performances while, once again, trying to ensure social distancing?
That's a good question. In the fall, we were not able to allow outside visitors on campus. So we had to live stream. Actually, we used Zoom this time for our fall performance of All in the Timing by David Ives. We were able to allow MSA students to come and watch the performances, but we marked our chairs so that none of the students would be closer than 6 feet apart.
In terms of other theaters, do you think the theater industry will be able to perform plays safely, like in general?
Yes, as soon as the vaccines have been distributed to whatever the percentage is, I've heard different numbers, but it's well over 50%, the theater should be able to get up and run just normally the way they did before. Until then, there's been a lot of theater online, but I know in England, they have reopened some of the live theaters. They've used social distancing in the audience. Some of them have beefed up their ventilation systems, within the theater spaces. And also, they've chosen plays where the actors don't have to be very intimate with one another, or else it's a small cast play where they just accept that they're exposed to each other.
Has the pandemic given you any new insight into the power of acting and how it affects both the actor and the audience?
Yes, it has. I think I found that it doesn't reach as well online, that there is something about being in the same room with a performer that you can feel their energy a lot more intimately and a lot more intensely. And it just doesn't come through the internet.
Do you think that being in the theater program, your students being in the theater program with these guidelines, do you think that will help them mature as actors?
Yes, definitely, I think it will. Because any kind of adversity, any kind of obstacles that you put in front of an artist of any variety is going to make them learn how to do their art in new, more creative ways, and that makes them grow as an artist.